Hello World Doll Day friends, this is Michael Kanadas with the Grovian Doll Museum and Carmel Doll Shop. We're here with our good friend Denise Beasy.
Hello.
And, we're having a little summer find share.
Yes.
So those of you that follow what we do, you might know that we have a little project in Virginia that we're doing. And so we, not Denise, but David and myself, we've been on a dolly diet. So it's been slim pickings for us. However, we did manage to find something that we've wanted to add to our collection for a very long time. A lot of you may not know this, but we did not found Carmel Doll Shop.
Right. I know, it's surprising for most people.
So, I mean, we've gone on way longer than the original founders. But the original lady and gentleman that owned Carmel Doll Shop, they had a small shop that was just packed full of dolls. And one of the dolls that they had was a giant version of this. Now, Denise, at the time, I didn't know anything. So when I walked in there, I didn't know one single thing. So as I visited the shop and became a client of the shop, I could compare things.
You're right.
So I realized when she said, "This is a Jumeau," I didn't get it.
Oh, yeah. No, you wouldn't.
No.
That's not a Jumeau.
That's not
that's
a Jumeau.
Something else, right.
When in fact it absolutely is a Jumeau. So we got to go back in time. So it's 1938.
38.
There's King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, the last Queen's mother,
Queen Mother.
Beau's Lion.
Right.
They have a state visit to Paris. And it had been a very long time that there was a state visit to Paris. I think it might have actually even been Victoria and Albert. So that's how long the stretch. Yeah. Now, their reign was shaky. You know, they had the abdication.
Right.
They weren't solid yet. It's 1938. So it's still a little shaky. And I will just say it, the Queen Elizabeth, that queen, was not a fashion plate. She really wasn't, except she made her mark in Paris.
Really?
Yes, because her father had died. So she went into mourning, and they could have canceled the trip, but there are two colors for mourning. Do you know what they are?
Black or white?
Black or white. So she did her whole trip in white, and it caused a sensation. And that really started the trend in the 30s of white dresses, white this, white that. She did that. So she did make her mark.
She did. It's
kind of hard to follow Wallace Simpson, who's like dressing a toothpick.
Right.
So they were feted. They had many activities that they did. And part of those kinds of tours is you get gifts. So the Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret Rose, their daughters, were gifted 2 Jumeau dolls. And they're enormous. They're probably 32 inches tall.
Is that the size that they had in the shop, that early shop? You said they had a big one, did you say?
They had a big one.
Was it like
big one.
that,
Yes.
or are there different sizes?
Yes.
Okay.
It was one of the big ones.
Okay.
So it's like 32 inch, and maybe I may not have that number exactly right. And what was spectacular about these dolls is all of the famous dressmakers of the time made them clothes. Cartier made them jewelry. All of the famous shoemakers made them shoes. And if you ever have a chance to see them, they are in Windsor Castle.
I thought so, right?
Yes.
Right.
So Jumeau, the Jumeau doll, which was manufactured by the SFBJ conglomerate, but they are Jumeaus because the Jumeau family owned 80% of the company. So the gift was a sensation. It got a lot of news. It was displayed. The girls did play with them. Some historians have said that they did not. And the queen, the last queen, she did correct people and say, I did play with my dolls. And matter of fact, early in the bombing stage, they took their dolls with them into shelter. So if you were a really lucky girl in England or in France, you would want a Princess Elizabeth Jumeau.
Were those big ones that were gifted to the princesses the only ones at the time? And then did they make smaller sizes? Or
you could buy the same exact doll that the princesses had. So you could buy the big full size, or you could buy the reduced size. So this is a reduced size, and there's a couple of other sizes. So what's interesting about them is they have, you know, the standard SFBJ Jumeau body of the time. But what's really special is they have flirting eyes. Now, another thing that's interesting and what was confusing to me as a young collector, when you look at the paint finish on this, so I want you to see, Denise. So it's fired bisque, but if you look here, there's no upper lash because they've got the fur lashes, so they don't need upper lashes. But if you see this shadowing here, the decoration in the corner of the eyes, and the lip there, that's all cold painted, meaning it wasn't fired. And if you look at it, doesn't it have a makeup-y look to it?
It does, especially her lips and the eyeshadow.
Like she has makeup on.
Yes.
Because, you know, we're in the 30s where women are really painting themselves up, you know, to look like movie stars. And even if you're a royalty and say, we don't do that, we don't follow it. Yeah, they do.
They went out.
Yeah. So she came to us, and this is probably a recreation of the dress that she had, redone in not appropriate fabrics. So at some point I'm going to redo the dress, but the styling is just beautiful. Just beautiful.
Gown,
yeah, you could see like Judy Garland and girls of that time frame wearing dresses like this. And then the other thing that she had that drove me crazy is she came with Victorian curls. And that's what all those years ago in the original Carmel doll shop that threw me, is they had this doll looking Victorian when she's 20th century. So this one had big curls, and I redid it, and I sat down and I thought, how am I going to do this? And then I just visualized exactly my grandmother would have. She was a young woman at the time. I remember seeing her do pin curls. So I just sat and did pin curls.
Well, I think that's what the princesses had probably.
They did, yeah. So here's something that I want to share, which is going to mess up her hair. But so if there's any doubt that there is the mark, Jumeau, 1938, Paris. So they're dated of that historic event. And, you know, it was a goodwill event for the benefit of both countries because they knew what was going down the pipe.
Yeah, 1938,
so, and we're almost at the point that we can do a little display of all the princess dolls. We have this one. We have actually the earliest known doll of Princess Elizabeth, which was from when she was a bridesmaid. And when she was a bridesmaid, there was no indication that she would ever move on. And then, of course, this is the most important. But wouldn't this be a fun sewing project?
Yes, it would. Are the clothes that the designers made shown? I mean, can you see them? Are they pictured?
Some things are.
So maybe you can get an idea.
Yes, something. And I think that they save it to preserve it, and then they have done special exhibits, and I imagine that they will do some more.
That makes sense.
Now, when I was looking at it, there was some nice things out, and one thing was a Cartier box, and it had nothing in it. And I thought, oh, that's so sad that it doesn't have anything in it. And then I looked at the doll, and the doll was
doll's
wearing it. Is wearing it.
Oh my God.
So anyway, this is our little piece of
history.
Yes. And you cannot judge these off of a doll from 1880. You have to look at them, the bisque color, the coloration, pale and pink, the lips. This is all 1938, which was considered. And if you compare this to a lot of other dolls from 1938, this is really special.
Nice, yes.
So I hope you enjoyed seeing what we're up to.
She's beautiful.
And stay tuned, because we might be whipping out all kinds of costumes for her. All right, friends. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button.